What is going on, everybody? We are back on it. The Last of Us, Episode 9, the Season 1 finale. It's actually crazy. I feel like these 9 episodes have gone by fast. I think this episode is also the shortest of all 9 episodes, which is crazy. I think it's just under 45 minutes. We'll see what we get here. I'm curious, because I'm pretty sure it's already been greenlit for a Season 2, or they've already talked about a Season 2 script and all this type of thing, so I'm curious kind of where we leave off here. Do they go back to Tommy's? Do they try to look further in the Colorado area? I'm curious what they end up dealing with that. Um, After the episode's over, we'll do our classic, when a season ends, we'll do our recap, what we thought was like good, bad rankings. What I'm hoping for, which I already know is going to be like a complaint, and I see a lot of it of complaints too, is hope for more zombies. Or whatever, infected, kind of whatever we want to label them as. But besides that, we'll let them keep doing their thing. I think last episode for me is probably in the top 3 episodes of the 8 that we've gotten so far. An argument could be made for episode 2 as well. So I'm curious where we'll go with episode 9. And let's do it. Now, to my understanding, this actress here is the actress that they used for voice and face in the Last of Us video game. So this is Ellie in the video games right here. And I think they're using her as Ellie's mom in the show storyline. Is she gonna C-section herself? Okay, she's just taking that out for protection, right? She can't not make no... She's got to try to kill it. She's got to kill it. I think she's going to get bit while she's pregnant. Did we even get confirmation on what's the for sure method of... Okay, so there's no way she got bit and gave birth and had it even connect that quickly. So that's Ellie there. Do we even get confirmation on how to kill these infected? Is it always just headshot equal? It doesn't matter if they're full-on clicker, half and half, or anything. Like they're just, it's always just headshot. Like same Walking Dead thing, like you gotta destroy the brain. I wonder if we ever get an explanation for her immunity. Is that it? Because like the baby's already been birthed and like there's no way... Just from, I guess, a science... I mean, I'm not an OBGYN or anything crazy like that. But I just feel like there's no way, like, she gets bit that quickly and disconnects the umbilical cord for that infection to even somehow trace through her blood to get to Ellie and have any type of effect. So... I'm curious what state this is in, because Marlene's the one that finds her, right? Yeah, that's her right there. So did Marlene, was she already acquainted with Ellie's mom before this? Or is this just a group coming up on this house and they're of course going to run into a baby? So that makes a little bit more sense on why Marlene didn't shoot a bit infected kid on sight. When she found her in the mall there, because we still didn't even see how that scene went down. Like, did one of the girls turn and Ellie put her down, or did Marlene put the other girl down and then decided not to put Ellie down? Like, how did that play out? I don't know, and we'll probably never get that. Maybe that's a video game thing that we'll see, or that's a video game thing that they show. I don't know. Like, did Ellie put her friend down, or just leave her friend in there? Marlene put her down.
I can't kill you.
So you're just gonna leave her there and let her turn? You're just gonna leave her there like that? Yeah. That's the quickest way to... I mean, yes, that's the quickest way to do that, but it's also the quickest way for everybody's mental involved. You go in there and you hesitate, you look her in the eyes, you second doubt, she looks at it. It's just go in and do it, honestly.
This.
he's trying to like she started here, like they're just on opposite ends of the spectrum. He started here and she started here. They're like going, they're passing each other.
Hospital that way.
Like they're both going this way in here.
Got it.
Learn how to play guitar?
All of a sudden he's all talkative and shit and she's not.
Ellie?
Oh yeah,
That's rough for the relationship.
that'd be great.
He's like all about it. Like this is like damn near Sarah in his eyes. Like he's talkative, ready to go. They're in Utah. Okay, so we're not in Colorado anymore since last episode. They've crossed a whole nother state. So I'm wondering what's triggering, like what's got her, you know, distracted mentally. She does not remember her mother getting shot in the head. We know that much. Just out here grazing. It's a lot of meat.
Don't scare it.
I won't.
It's a lot of meat. That thing could last us
What are you doing?
2 trips across the United States if you really preserve it right.
Hurry up.
It can't be for nothing.
The problem is there is a possibility that it might be for nothing. I don't know how the video games
I know
go.
you mean well.
Do they get her somewhere and
I know
find
you protect me.
a
You know.
cure and all that crazy shit?
And when we're done, whatever you
Um,
want. Tommy's sheep ranch. The
But
moon.
there's a chance that we don't, like, there's just nothing out there as far as, like, a hospital
I'll
out
follow
there
you anywhere you go.
ready to make a cure. Okay, we've got her blood, we're ready to go. She does have to
But there's no halfway with this.
she does have to accept that possibility that
We finish what we started.
there just might not be. But I fall under the camp that, like, they said west. We'll go as far west as west goes. We'll look for all these hospitals and do what we can within reason. But at some point we do just have to call it. And I think we do it, like, she has to accept that fact. And he has to accept the fact that, like, we're out here, we might as well. If there's a chance to cure the world, sure. But there's also a chance that, like, there's nothing left but what we've run into, just rapers and reavers and, you know, type shit. So we'll see.
It's jokes like there's no tomorrow.
Oh.
Too soon?
No, it's topical.
Oh, I love this one. Moon rocks taste better than Earth rocks. Why? Because they're meteor.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh,
That's
fuck
a-
you.
that-
That was actually good.
That's a 0 out of 10.
All right. What
This
if
is
we
going
did
way too good. I feel like
purple?
people are gonna come around. Freeze!
That's a 3 out of 10.
7.
I'll give it a 5.
Bro, flashbang! Get down! I told you this shit was going too good. I knew someone was gonna come around the corner. Freeze, you pieces of shit! The thing is, you know what's so fucked is in situations like this where people are like, okay, we'll take in people, but we're gonna check people when we do. If people just check her off rip and like, oh, we don't do that shit and just kill her with no explanation.
Got hit pretty hard.
How did you even get out here? How did you beat me here?
Where's Ellie?
She wasn't hurt. I'm sorry.
Well, clearly,
I had
This-
no other choice.
the show and the story doesn't end here. So clearly, Ellie does not get her brain split open and operated on. So how do we get? What's the play here?
I said keep walking.
Here we go.
Where is she?
Kill him.
I don't have time for this.
Yep. Take both guns. Take both guns and everything else in his pack. Yep. Yep. Here we go. We're about to get loose off the juice in this hospital. Good luck, boys. I'm pulling that fire alarm too, by the way. I mean, they did this to themselves. The thing is, like, he's not gonna hesitate. He's not gonna hesitate. He'll kill every single person in that hospital. They might hesitate, and that'll be the difference. I like this music they got going. And he's doing exactly what you're supposed to, which I tell everybody to do. You shoot the head. You double tap the head. I don't care if they're down. I don't care if you shot them in the chest or anything. You go back and you John Wick that shit. I think I might have to shoot him too. I don't know, man. Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough call to make right there, even though the guy... If his mission is to clear this whole hospital and get her out, he kind of has to do that. He doesn't have a choice. Oh my god, now he's got to stab this dude to death to get his gun. Woof! The problem is, that's a tough call to make, but luckily Joel in that situation knew the call that he had to make. I think he thought about it for 2 seconds, but he didn't sit there and dwell on it too long. He just did it. And all these Fedra agents are going to be killed, by the way. All of them. I mean, not Fedra agents, the Fireflies and shit. That's a lot of people for them to lose. Is he just gonna pop, pop, pop?
Unhook her.
How did you get in here?
I said unhook her.
I won't let you take her.
Oh my god, he killed the doctor straight in the head! Oh my god, he might be one of the most valuable men out there, like, in the whole country.
Fast. And some others.
He killed her. As soon as she lowered, he
Seems like
pulled.
There's a whole lot more like.
I'm so curious to if and when that truth comes out. 'Cause that's gonna be some shit.
I'm sorry.
Yep. I knew it. As soon as she lowered hers, he was gonna pull his.
You just come after her.
Wow! The reason why I'm so speechless about some of this is because we usually see how most of these things go. Like, yeah, you see like ruthless main characters and they do things, you know, to save their loved ones, whether it's in any type of like John Wick level, Bourne Identity, James Bond, post-apocalyptic thing, but like in most adaptations and stories, you rarely ever see them probably do the smart decision, which is what he just, like, every single one of them had to be taken out because, like he said, you'll just come after. You'll just come after us. But that's a tough decision for him to make, and the fact that he did it with no hesitation is, whew, hats off
A 5-hour hike.
to the show.
We can manage. Fan of the mosquitoes and such.
But it's also very selfish.
He's a big climber.
It's a very selfish
Scampering.
decision by him.
That's probably the right word. That girl. She'd see a big rock.
Yeah, this conversation's about to happen. This is about to happen.
like you.
Let's talk about whatever needs to be said. You're making me.
In Kansas City, you asked me about the first time I killed someone.
Are we gonna get to see it? I want to know what happened to her friend. Did Marlene do it? Did she do it?
When I got bit in the mall, I wasn't on my own. My best friend was there. Me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Wow. No hesitation. Looks her dead in the eyes, too. All you can say to that is okay. Yeah, I mean, what
Okay.
what can you say to that? And that's how it ends! Where we were going with it, especially at the beginning of the episode started because we haven't been kind of addressing the right after. And a lot of this that is shocking to us as a viewer, to Ellie as someone that didn't experience this type of world. She has been in an post-apocalyptic world and setting, but she's been behind walls. As shitty as Fedra might have been, and the Fireflies trying to backstab in the back, and food rations, etc., etc., it's still been some type of law and order, you know? She still knew where she was going to put her head at night. She still was getting square meals. She didn't have to worry about fucking being raped and reavers and all that type of shit. And, you know, she's like, holy shit, I'm outside the walls. Like, this is great. I dreamed of days like this, Aaron. you realize once you go outside the walls, it isn't as great as you thought it was going to be. Hopefully she doesn't take an Aaron Yeager turn. Um, so things that are like chipping away at her mental over and over and over, it's not like phasing Joel because he was out there for a while. Now I don't know if he saw things on like the Henry and Sam type level. You know, some of the stuff is pretty dramatic, but it's not going to warp him or change him as much. So we see her personality really change. Like it's still in there, but then it's like not in there a little bit. So I'm curious if like any of that gets addressed going forward, which is the entire next season, that it would have to be addressed. Now I've never played the games. I do know a good handful of things that happen in the games though. Just because I remember how crazy it almost felt like a Game of Thrones type thing where like The Last of Us fucked up the second game so bad that you couldn't go on any type of social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't even know if TikTok was a thing back then, but any type of thing, YouTube, and just not see people going off about it, like how could you mess this up? It was on a silver platter, yada yada. How could you take this turn? Blah blah blah. So I'm curious, kind of what happens, going forward. I know there's a character called Abby, and I do know Ellie makes it to the end. I don't know if Joel survives, but I'm pretty sure what the sending off point for season 2 is and why everyone hates Abby or Abby is a thing. I'm pretty sure one of the people that Joel just killed is Abby's father. And I would say probably the doctor. Now how that leads to all of us, like that's in what, Utah, how we get tracked back down to Wyoming or where, I don't know the specifics on any of that. The truth of that is going to come out, correct? About him swearing about what happened. That's going to come out. How that comes out, whether it's from his own mouth, whether she finds out through the grapevine, I have absolutely no idea. But I'm curious of my probably biggest sending off point is like, what now? Like, what's the main purpose of the story now? Because even though, it was, we saw Joel's personality soften, Ellie's personality harden, them also forming a relationship at the same time, losing people along the way, there was still one major, like, underlying theme, and that was Ellie's immune. The goal is to get her out west. Fireflies are saying, they think they have a way to, produce a cure from her. So that was like the driving force. Everything else with the cherry and sundae toppings on top. The bottom line was get her out there. They do the cure thing. That whole storyline has now been just washed off the board. That doctor, Marlene, the whole hospitals and big brain setup they had is no more. So now I'm curious going forward, what is the underlying plot point or story? Because it's kind of like, because like they're going back to Wyoming, like Tommy's place is pretty good to go. There's no reason to unless you want to kind of be on like a scavenger squad or a hunting squad, you could just really kick your feet up and just retire behind those walls. There's no reason to leave. They have running water, electricity, food, cattle, clothing, ammunition, walls, a community, numbers. And this isn't like a Walking Dead thing where like if an old person dies in the middle of the night, there's a chance they pop up and infect our whole camp and then the whole camp gets overrun. Like, there's really no reason to leave or need to do anything. So I'm curious of what season 2's driving plot point is going to be. I'm sure it's going to be a very relationship focused between the two of them, which season 1 was. We saw, them get closer while also kind of change personalities a little bit. Does she fully believe? Is that going to be like an underlying thing where she comes to like resent him because she thinks he's lying and us as a viewer know he's lying and he knows he's lying? Yeah, but but relationships, spats, disagreements back and forth, that's just going to happen with them. That just kind of is what it is. But I'm curious what's going to be the driving plot point for season 2. That'll be very interesting, and kind of just where we go from there. They were good episodes, and I guess it kind of depends, because there's been zombies and infected storylines of all different types in different shows. Walking Dead, World War Z, other video games, whether that's like Resident Evil or I Am Legend type. There's a lot of different things. So you kind of come in with, okay, this isn't the first rodeo. I know zombies, sounds, light, stab in the head, blah blah blah. So you kind of come in with maybe expectations, and maybe that's where I'm putting expectations on the show. Probably my one biggest downside of season 1 was I feel like there wasn't enough infected scenes. Now, granted, we had an infected this episode that was on screen in the dark for like 10 seconds. I don't think we had any, so I'm not counting that as an infected. So episode 9, no infected. Episode 8, I'm pretty positive no infected. Episode 7 was what? Is that when we met up with Tommy and got stabbed in the stomach at the end? Pretty sure no infected that episode as well. Episode 6 was what? Or was episode 6 Tommy? No, episode 6 was Tommy. And that's us getting stabbed. Episode 7 was the Ellie flashback. Again, one infected on screen so I'm not counting these infected that pop up on screen for like 30 seconds. So 9, 8, 7, 6, just no infected. 5 was like the big, hordes, bloater, clicker, they're everywhere. So 5 had it. 4 was kind of like a chill episode, nothing too crazy with that. 3 was what? Bill and Frank, no infected there. 2, we had it with Tess there at the end and kind of seeing how they moved, and the clickers, the introduction for the first time in episode 1. So out of the 9 episodes, I'd say 1, 2, and 5 had like, okay, these are infected, these are zombies. So 30% of the 30% of the season had like, I feel like a good infected feel status to it. The rest of it was just kind of like relationships and like how to cope and deal with what's going on. So I would just say for me personally, I wish there would have been more. Like them maybe dealing with it going through the cities, or those type of things. So that knocks it down a little bit for me. If I had to rank it 1 out of 10, season 1, The Last of Us, and again, I'm coming in with no knowledge, never played the video games. I've heard of just how crazy season 2 was, how the good, the bad, the ugly. So I really don't know anybody's fates or anything like that. Solid 8.3 is where I'm feeling. Like 8.5 might be too high, 8 might be too low. Like 8.3 is like a good thing there. There's some wonky CGI stuff there when they really would show like the city landscapes, and that could be dependent on kind of like what TVs and things you're watching on. Besides that, yeah, I thought when we did get close-ups of like full-on clickers, like cordyceps growing, the makeup and stuff was done really great on those. Especially episode 2 where we got like face-up clickers. Though the makeup and stuff was really great on those. But yeah, I'd say solid 8.3 for season 1. I will be locked in for season 2. Now, I know a lot of people said when the Abby character gets introduced, they're just going to stop watching the show. But I'll be in for watching. And it depends how it's told. Again, to me, the greatest thing I've watched of anything of anime, movies, TV shows, etc. has been Game of Thrones. It's the greatest thing that I've ever watched. But I can also admit that season 8 was a very big letdown. Season 7 was a very big like, this is interesting what they're choosing to do. But I'm not going to let 6 amazing seasons and then episode 7 comes and I'm like, okay, you can get 1, like, okay, but episode 8, like, they're going to bring it, and they didn't. So I can understand loving something, like you could love The Last of Us 1, and then The Last of Us 2 comes around, but it's like, does it still diminish the entire thing? It depends how it'll be told. So I'll just hold out judgment until then, but I do know, like, you can drop the ball on something great. I've seen it firsthand with my favorite show. So we'll see what they decide to do. 8.3 is my ranking. The Last of Us season 1, great time. And I love how just like ruthless he was in this episode. this was, I feel like, the first time we saw him. Like, you hear the stories about Joel, and you would see a little bit of it where he, like, got the PTSD in episode, what was at the end of episode 1, where he punches that cop or the Fedra agent to death. You saw the torture scene last episode where he had the guys taped up and was gonna pop his kneecap off, so you saw, like, glimpses of it. He was just on his straight, like, John Wick shit. And I do agree with him, like, you can't leave Marlene alive or anything like that. As shitty as it is, and what you've probably done in the relationships you guys probably have, you yourself and Ellie will never be safe if she's alive. And it is what it is. But I do agree it's very selfish of him to make that decision for everybody. Him not wanting to let Ellie go. Now I'm curious if he never had Sarah. Like, say he never had a daughter, it was just him and Tommy, and then the apocalypse started. Or if Sarah was still alive, maybe she's back in Tommy's camp, and he decides he'll go take her, and they leave Sarah. Would he have still made the decisions to, like, save her life, like, that hard? If he never lost a daughter, never had a daughter? Because that might be influencing his decisions harder. Here, like, I care for her, I can't lose something like that again, you know? It's a very selfish decision by him, 100%. It was cool to see him go crazy, but very, very selfish decision. Like, he just made those decisions for him. I would have liked to have seen, like, was Ellie fully told, like, this is what we're doing? Because if you present the options to her and tell her, you're going to have to die for us to, and it's not even a guarantee they come with a cure, by the way. You're going to have to die for a possibility at a cure. If she says yes, it's not his decision to make. But here we are. So that'll be an interesting dynamic. Appreciate it, everybody. Like, share, favorite, subscribe as always.